There's a version of kindness that doesn't come from love, empathy, or warmth. It comes from fear. It comes from the desire to manage people. To keep them comfortable, dependent, indebted, or silent. It wears a smile, uses soft words, and hides behind compliments, but at its core, it's a strategy of power. Because real kindness sets people free. But fake kindness keeps them small. The violence of kindness is subtle. It doesn't shout. It doesn't threaten. It doesn't raise its hand. It suffocates. It guilt trips. It invades your boundaries under the disguise of care. It asks you to shrink yourself for someone else's comfort. It expects you to be grateful, even when you're being emotionally managed. You've probably seen this before. A parent who gives their child everything, but in return expects obedience. Not because they love their child unconditionally, but because their identity depends on being needed. Or a partner who showers you with affection when you're weak, but pulls back or becomes cold when you show independence. Or a friend who's always doing favors, always going the extra mile, yet their kindness feels loaded, transactional, like a debt you didn't ask to owe. The psychology behind this is control masked as care. Niceness becomes a form of manipulation. It traps people in roles: the caretaker, the victim, the grateful one. And once you accept that role, it's hard to step out of it without being called selfish, ungrateful, cold, or cruel. The moment you pull away from that fake warmth, they act wounded. Not because they love you, but because their control over you is slipping. True kindness does not require you to feel small. It doesn't punish you for growing. It doesn't expect anything in return. It allows discomfort when necessary. It can tell the truth even when the truth is hard. It gives without strings. But fake kindness? It's always keeping score. It doesn't want you to rise, it wants you to stay close, dependent, safe, so it can keep calling itself the good one. This is where emotional control becomes psychological warfare. The violence of kindness leaves no bruises, but it can hollow out your sense of self. It can keep you second-guessing your gut. You stay in relationships that no longer nourish you because leaving would make you the bad guy. You silence your needs because someone else's love feels like a fragile glass you're afraid to drop. You learn to perform gratitude when what you really feel is resentment. And because it's all wrapped in kindness, no one calls it out. We've been conditioned to associate kindness with goodness. But they're not the same. Real goodness has backbone. Real love has teeth. Real care allows confrontation, allows rupture, allows hard truths. Fake kindness is performative. It wants peace, but not growth. It wants approval, not connection. It wants loyalty, not authenticity. If you've ever felt trapped in someone's kindness, you're not imagining it. If you've ever felt that someone's nice gestures came with an invisible leash, that's not love. That's control. And here's the hard part: sometimes we're the ones who weaponize kindness too. Not because we're evil, but because we're scared. We're scared to be direct, to say no, to assert ourselves, so we use niceness to soften reality. But in doing that, we also distort it. We hide behind pleasantries when what's really needed is clarity. We manipulate instead of communicate. We give in ways that create dependence, not freedom. To be truly kind, you have to be strong. You have to be honest. You have to let people walk away. You have to let people say no. And you have to be able to give without controlling the outcome. Because anything else is just polished control. The violence of kindness is one of the most common emotional manipulations in relationships, families, and even workplaces. It's how power maintains itself without ever raising its voice. It's how people are controlled while being convinced they're being cared for. And the only antidote is self-awareness. You have to see it for what it is. You have to recognize the difference between care and control, between love and leverage. Because when kindness becomes a cage, it stops being kind.